Let's have a look at the market for the first race. So we'll preview races 1, 5, 6 and 7 before Riccarton starts. And Bocce's $2.70 from Sacred Accord, $4.60 Spirits or Beer. Stephen Hunt, when we spoke to you earlier, you suggested that Bocce was pretty well supported. Is that still the order of the day?
Absolutely, Jace. Best bet runner on the card at Tauranga. Bocce, $2.70 you see there on option 201 off a peak of $4.50. Yes, Annie OK came out this morning. Just probably, just maybe a misleading move inwards there in terms of $4.50 to $2.70, a lay price around about $3.40 around Bocce. Sacred Accord went up as a favourite during the week, probably on a fault in terms of we priced it on spec rather than ratings and the times that it ran on debut. So they have gone with Bocce now, who will stay a clear favourite in front of Sacred Accord. Not friendless though, at a $3 price. Spirits or Beer in that third line of betting, $4.60. There's potential from what I'm seeing trading wise that horse could go over $5. And Hypnos in that fourth line of betting, there's been a slight move inwards there, 7 into 6. But clearly the best bet runner has been Bocce, $4.50 into $2.70.
Here's the speed map brought to you by Form Pro, and Spirits or Beer and Bocce, the runners that look to set things up. And look, it's going to be a bit of jockeying in behind them, I'd imagine. It seems pretty clear cut that those two, and maybe even Bocce just outright controls this with Opie Bosson. Look, Brendan, last time Bocce raced at the 150, I turned round, got myself a glass of water, expecting that I was just going to turn back and collect on Bocce, and he didn't win. What happened?
Yeah, well, I can feel your pain there, Jason, actually, around that. Look, he's a horse who's been good enough as a two-year-old, as you go through his stellar two-year-old form, who was placed in a Kanaka Million, beaten by those older horses last time to the races as well. He looks right on song for this, I would have thought, in his preparation where he now sits third up. He does look likely to press forward and get over to the plastic, which if he does get to that position, he's going to be awfully hard to beat. I do like a horse who's drawn in barrier number 1 who could play a part in just in behind the speed, and that is Hypnos. Now, if this horse does take a trailing position, who got no luck when last presented to the races at Avondale when taking on older horses at rating 65 level, he's a chance. He has a chance, I thought, and I'm sort of searching for a little bit of value outside of those favoured runners and Sacred Accord and also Bocce. So I was happy to have an investment on Hypnos. And I'm sort of working around Cornella's with the horse as well, with the leader in the race in Bocce. So I was around the 3 to beat the 2. Sacred Accord is a horse who's clearly got the ability there. And look, this is a decent race to be tackling, isn't it? A horse who's still got a few tricks as well, but love the way the horse did win here when last presented. Yeah, I was just leaning towards the $6 on Hypnos. Good form around Satulagi, and was quite unlucky when presented last time to the races.
Nice race to open the day, all right. The Tauranga Hardware and Plumbing 3-year-old. To race 5 we go, and that's the Dominator Garage Doors Tauranga Handicap. It's for the rating 72 gallopers, even though Passabache falls outside of rating 72 band. The Mitigator, $3.60, $4.80 for Chasu Bao, $6 for Hinarangi. In fact, just amazed, not surprisingly, is well in commission at $5. It was an excellent run behind the Mitigator. What's the money traffic like here, Steve?
Overall even spread, Jason, between 4 or 5 runners. I'll mention them starting off with the favourite, the Mitigator. It's 1-2 on the bounce. There's no reason for punters to get off the train here on the Mitigator at $3.60 off a peak of 3.8. Looks set to start favourite over the mile. Chasu Bao now, look, second up, we thought there was decent improvement coming out of HQ. But it might need one more run, maybe one to back 3rd or 4th up this preparation, because it's fairly cold around the 6 and hard to write a ticket on Chasu Bao, $4.80. There's potential on the back of my thoughts here around the trading that it could get back out to $6. Hirarangi, always well supported at $6 from the Baker Forsman barn, currently a losing result. Incantissimo third up. I think it was ridden upside down at Te Rapa. They tried to ride a lot forward on the way the track was playing 2 or 3 weeks ago. It just came unstuck. I think if they ride this horse potentially a little bit colder, 2 or 3 pegs back from what it was at Te Rapa, it can run a shot, and a lot of punters suggesting that. $8 trading off a peak of $9. So the Mitigator best bet runner, Chasu Bao cold, and specking for Hirarangi, and also Incantissimo wraps up the trading over the mile.
I thought that if Sean Mackay is able to be as positive on the Mitigator as he has been his last 2 starts, and he'll get the opportunity to dominate things. It does depend a little bit on how Opie Bosson comes out on Hinarangi, but the mitigator looks like it might be the leader. And on that basis, Brendan, if Sean was to find the lead on the mitigator, I wondered whether there'd be anything fast enough to run it down.
Look, I've been impressed by the way this horse has been able to control its races in front, and as we've seen so often here at this venue, Jason, at Tauranga, if you can find a free runner in front, they can be hard to catch here. So let's go back to the win from this horse when last presented to the races, the mitigator. This was in a rating 72 out of Te Rapa. Pressed forward and beats home Just Amaze, who is a race rival here, so a good chance to get a line on Just Amaze. And obviously Just Amaze meets it better in the weights this afternoon than from last time, with the mitigator staying in the same grade. I'm just waiting to pull the trigger on Chao Su Bao. I'm just not sure if it's today. I don't know if it's just maybe a half pull on the trigger, and if he runs well, you can get a piece of sort of $5 or $6. He's going to deliver very shortly, Chao Su Bao. I loved his run first up to the races. I know the team have been happy with his progress out of that race at Ellerslie. He's got a decent draw where he can sort of sit just off them, but is the mitigator going to be the horse who could be too hard to catch in front? So, yeah, maybe it's just a half pull on the trigger, but really when he's ready to go, I'm really waiting to chime in and have a bet on Chao Su Bao. I'll go with the 3 in the mitigator up front, and could be hard to chase down.
What comes out of the gun when you pull the trigger only halfway? I'm not really sure, but I know what you mean with regards to Chao Su Bao there, BP. I've been waiting to launch as well, but anyway, the half pull. Race number 6 is the Walker and Hall handicap over 1,400 metres, and this is how the market shapes up for it. $2.70 for Embellish, $3.30 Calligraphy, and Donna and Billy there at $4.20. Look, I understand there's been a bit of cash for Embellish. Stephen Hunt backing up after it was second to Sleeping Beauty last time on the track.
Yeah, it's what we call in Petone an unpredicted market move on Embellish, 290 into 270. As it stands right now, just before midday, it holds 80% of total turnover, the son of Zavabeel Embellish, and looks set to start a warm favourite with only the half does going round. Calligraphy, 310 out to 330, so a lot of these horses on the back of the warm support on Embellish have moved out from an opening line. Donna and Billy, we're pretty keen here around Donna and Billy with the claim. Looks to be the pace influence in this race. $5.20 into $4.20, and hopefully that horse can run for us. Sensible Princess, 5 out to 6. Sultan of Swing, Friendless, 11 out to 13. And Farm Boy, who resumes, 15 out to 18. So really not too much to speak of outside the 3, Embellish.
The Embellish on a better track today might see an improved performance, certainly being second up as well. Again, the speed map does look as though, Brendan, that Donna and Billy should find the front, and it's up to Ashwin Gundasamy to rate the daughter of Tavistock, whose form, I think at times I've underrated her, and at times the market has as well. How did you see the 6th?
Yeah, that's correct, Jason, and I think the way this horse has come into this preparation, I think it is worthy of respect when it's going to be at 50 kilos and it's going to be in front. Look, I thought Embellish was very good here when first presented to the races, considering the race was 1,300 metres. It was won by a runner who was up front. Of course, we didn't get the tearaway Rich Billy Marsh in this race because she was a stride slow away, and Sleeping Beauty made the most of that, and that was the winning of the race for Sleeping Beauty. But this horse has worked home nicely. He's a second up winner from last campaign. He is a Group 1 winner, is Embellish, and he goes up to 1,400 metres. So you can imagine that there's going to be good improvement around this horse, and you can understand why that market has just shifted around him in this price from $2.90 to $2.70. Calligraphy, runner number 5, is another horse who does have no weight in this race, and really love the way that she's worked home first up. Darren Dennis, an informed apprentice in the country, that is for sure, takes the ride and gets it down to 51.5 kilograms. This was the effort in behind Yearn, who was big on this occasion to win this race, Yearn. And Calligraphy's out wide and smokes home into second position. Could she be that late closer with Embellish and trying to get over the top of Donna and Billy? And then you've got Sensible Princess in the race, who of course last preparation won the Auckland Thoroughbred Breeders. I was happy to be on Embellish in this race, Jason.
It's a very interesting race. Race number 6 is the Group 2 Weight for Age, the Gartshaw Tauranga Stakes over the 1,600 metres, and looking to defend his title, so to speak, is Ocean Emperor, with Lindsay Satherley, as Brendan mentioned, picking up the ride as a result of Dylan Turner being unwell and stood down. 8 Love Affair is the $3.10 favourite, $3.80 Nicoletta. Darscape Princess has just trimmed up a little bit. I'm pretty sure she was around $5.50 yesterday. Is that on weight of money, Steve?
Yeah, well spotted. Jace number 7, Darscape Princess, probably the best back this morning. $4.80 trading off a peak of $5.50. Might have got out to $6 when we first opened at $8.15 this morning, but again, well supported. Includes a $1,500 bet at 5.5 on number 7, Darscape Princess, which I think the key for this individual is back on a better surface, has struck that dead/slow track in its first 2 starts this preparation. Love Affair, clearly the best back overall if you include Wednesday, Thursday, Friday trading. Got as short as $3, just back out to the opening line of $3.10. Clearly best back runner, Love Affair. In front of Ocean Emperor, the defending champ, $3.50 out to $3.70. So again, quite friendless around number 1. Also Nicoletta, the stablemate, if there's a lead, it's definitely with Love Affair from the Baker Forsman stable. Nicoletta, $3.50 out to $3.80. Consensus, I think that will need a run according to money, 15 out to 17. And All Roads stepping up to Wait for Age Company, Jason, has been well spec. Currently a heavy losing result in behind Love Affair, 21 into 15. So best back runner overall, Love Affair, Darscape Princess today, and specking at longer odds for All Roads.
There's certainly a market when I framed it that was very compressed, a bit more compressed than what bookmakers released. Ocean Emperor, Darscape Princess, Nicoletta, Woodsman. Woodsman maybe not the first 100 metres, but might work around to sitting handy. Not an easy race to map because, you know, Gary Hennessy has been pretty outspoken as to how he thinks Ocean Emperor is best ridden. And Brendan, you're drawn the 1. So in many respects, you just don't want to hand up that advantage. But if you don't want to lead, what do? You do hand up, don't you?
Yeah, exactly right, Jason. It's a sort of horse where you probably would have preferred maybe if they don't want to lead, did they want to be sitting outside leader potentially, but it's going to be hard to do that from barrier 1, isn't it? So, look, I'm finding it hard to go past him at the same time, though, Jason. Look, I thought his return to the winner's circle was very good at Awapuni in the Red Craze Bowl. He didn't quite come up through the 2 races at Hawke's Bay when he was beaten in the 2 Group 1s there. Gee, I was desperately keen on him when he went into that first leg of the Hawke's Bay Carnival because of his trials being so good. He has been twice a Group 2 winner. He won this race last year. He also won the Matamata at Matamata in the Japan-New Zealand International Trophy as well. So, look, he's a proven horse. He was good enough to beat the likes of Miss Wilson and Cowie here last year, did Ocean Emperor and Lindsay Satherley. An informed jockey takes the ride and replaces Dylan Turner. Then you've got the likes of Love Affair in the race, who, of course, was beaten in behind Te Akau Shark 2 starts ago and was beaten out of Rotorua and has had a trial since then. And this is Nicoletta. Of course, Nicoletta, a horse who's been good enough to be Group 1 place last season in the likes of the New Zealand Thoroughbred Breeders' Race and also the Herbie Dyke. This was her win fresh up to the races when she did collect the cash in the Group 3 Taranaki Breeders. There's been form out of the race with horses winning sort of rating races post this, so there's been a good form reference out of the race, and she's a horse who can position up and maybe look to try and get to a spot outside leader. Other horses to respect in this race, Darscape Princess for sure, a Group 1 second last season in the New Zealand Stakes, which was clearly the run of the preparation for the horse. Gee, there's a horse in here that is a bit of a smoky, I thought, in second up in Consensus. This horse has been Group 1 placed twice at 1,600 metres last season. She's second up. She should be an improver coming into this race. If you just wanted to find something to help your trifectas and first falls out, she's a Group 1 winner. Of course, she won a Zabeel Classic as well, and no doubt she's probably on that path again on Boxing Day. I went with Ocean Emperor on top in front of Love Affair. If I was looking for a specky in terms of trifectas and first falls, Consensus could be that horse.
Yeah, Consensus is a big watch on her. Stephen McKee during the week suggested that she wouldn't be far away, but of course the Captain Cook as well as features at Ellerslie are on the radar for her. Okay, Brendan, after Gwendolyn Rose, there are plenty of your followers that have more than $1 or $2 to spare following breakfast this morning. What can you steer us into today at Tauranga, and how have you spent or chosen to spend your $100?
All right, Jason, look, I'm going to start it in the first race today with our $100 strategy. I'm going to go with Hypnos. Thought this horse might just get a nice run just in behind pressure, and if you're considering the trail, got no luck first up. Happy to have something on Hypnos in race number 1. My best bet today, I am going to go to Gold Spice in race number 4. I'm certainly rolling the dice on this horse because it's going to be rated around sort of $6.50, $7. This runner was unlucky when presented here last time to the race, so she goes up in distance, and I think that's going to be a big help for her today because she was a second in a Sunline Vase over 2,100 metres last preparation. Her form line, you would look at it and say, gee, maybe not, but I think with her going up in distance this afternoon and not having a lot of luck last time, she can be a player. And then I've gone Mahalo as my value bet. So strategy, Hypnos in race number 1, $10 to win. I'm really keen in race number 2 around a 6-8 combination. Of course, that is Arrogant and also Out of the Park. So I was going to play some trifectas at $2 units around a 6-8, 6-8 with 1, 2, 7 and 9. And then if 1, 2, 7 and 9 can fill the third placing and behind, let's try and hit it out of the park and try and get a first 4 as well for half units. Lobbing in through a few different numbers. And then we've got Mahalo, race number 3, 10 each way, and Gold Spice, 30 to win in race number 4. So just a couple of different spins there in the race number 2, trying to play into some multiple bet types. Was really liking that Quinella 6 and 8, Arrogant, who's got a good draw, and Out of the Park, who was unlucky, could be closing hard in the second of the day. That's us here out of Tauranga. Great way to start our racing card, though, the 3-year-old race. Race number 1 of the day, set down to start at 12:30.
Thanks very much, Brendan Popwell, and also Stephen Hunt for your thoughts there. We've got plenty more to come on the Punters Lounge Live, and brought to you by Valachi Downs. We've got live racing too from Riccarton ahead.